In 1995, Michael Eisner and the Disney Company announced something that would create amazing memories for countless families: the Disney Cruise Line. And on July 30th, 1998, the Disney Magic would set sail, create a legacy in the cruising industry that will last still to this day. Now, the Disney Cruise Line is a fantastic way of going on vacation and spending time with your family, but there's a lot of things that you need to know. Now, today's video might be a little long, but I'm going to break down absolutely everything that you would need to know and some tips and tricks in order to make the most out of your vacation on a Disney cruise. Now, I'm going to go ahead and break down this video into general topics, and then I'm going to go into details in each topic. I'll make sure to leave the timestamps in the description below, so if you want to jump to a specific topic, go ahead and click on the timestamp and it'll take you there. Well, I'm all ready. I got my notes. Let's jump right into this. Now, the first topic that I want to talk about is just basic knowledge and information about the Disney Cruise Line itself. As of the day of recording, there are 4 ships currently in the Disney fleet: the Magic, the Wonder, the Dream, and the Fantasy, with 3 more coming in the next upcoming years. Now, the 4 current ships are split into 2 different classes: the Magic class, which are the Disney Magic and the Disney Wonder, and the Dream class, which includes the Disney Dream and the Disney Fantasy. Now, for the next upcoming ships, we don't know much information. Disney hasn't said much about them yet. All we do know is that there will be 3 ships that will belong to the Trident class, and that the Disney Wish will be coming in 2022. Now, the Magic class ships are the smallest ships on the fleet. The Magic and the Wonder have a capacity of 2,700 with 875 staterooms. On the other hand, the Dream class ships, the Dream and the Fantasy, are the largest ones, with a capacity of 4,000 and 1,250 staterooms in each one. In terms of the newer ships, we do know that they're going to be the largest ships of the fleet, but when I did some research, I saw that they're going to have the same amount of staterooms as the Dream class ships. That actually got me a little bit confused. I'm like, oh, it's going to be bigger. I mean, I would assume that it would have more staterooms, but no, it seems to be the same capacity as the Dream and the Fantasy. Now, the ships do have different home ports, and as of the day of recording, the Magic's home port is Miami, Florida, the Wonder is New Orleans in Louisiana, and both the Dream and the Fantasy's home port is Port Canaveral. But I do expect that to change when the newer ships start coming out. Now, as to where, we still don't know. We can make our predictions. In the past, the Wonder has been stationed in Los Angeles in California. Maybe one ship could be stationed in Galveston, Texas. We still don't know, and until the new ships start coming out, we won't know either. Now, let's jump right into the staterooms. And the staterooms, as of right now in all 4 ships, are divided into 4 different categories: inside stateroom, ocean view stateroom, ocean view with veranda, and concierge level. Now, the inside staterooms, as the name implies, does not have a direct view of the ocean outside. But on the Dream and the Fantasy, they do have a magic porthole, which allows you to have a real-time view of the outside. Sometimes some Disney characters will come out and just interact with you and things like that. So that's actually a pretty cool feature that could be found on the Dream class ships. Now, the inside staterooms of all 4 current ships only sleep up to 4 people. So families of 5 or larger would either have to be split up, or you would have to look for a more expensive room. Now, let's move on to Ocean View. And the Ocean View rooms have either 1 large porthole or 2 smaller portholes in order to see outside. Now, personally, I love this. This is the one that me and my family stayed in December, and I loved having that large porthole where you could just sit there, relax, look outside into the ocean. It's amazing. Now, the Ocean View rooms in the Wonder and the Magic only sleep up to 4 people, but on the Dream and Fantasy, you could get a family Ocean View, which could sleep up to 5. This is the room that me and my family stayed in on the Fantasy when we went in December. Now, let's talk about the Ocean View rooms with veranda. Now, these are the staterooms that I would love to stay in eventually because they look awesome. So what a veranda is, it's just a small little balcony on the outside. So it's like a basic Ocean View room, but instead of having just a basic porthole, you have a balcony where you can go outside, breathe in some of that ocean air, just relax, and yeah, I would love to stay there one day. Now, the Veranda Deluxe Studios only sleep up to 4 people, and the Family Deluxe Studios sleep up to 5 in all of the 4 ships. And last, but certainly not least, the Concierge level rooms. Now, the Concierge level rooms are split into 3. Veranda, 1-bedroom suite, and the Royal Suite, which is like a house on the ship. It's crazy, but oh my god, they have a hot tub in their veranda. That's all I have to say. I mean, yep. Now, the concierge level rooms are more expensive than the other ones by a lot, and they do come with certain benefits. So one of the benefits of staying in concierge level is that you get 100 megabytes of Wi-Fi for free. Now Wi-Fi on the ship does come at an extra charge, but if you stay in one of the concierge level rooms, you do get 100 megabytes absolutely free. After that, you will be charged though. If you stay in a concierge level room, you also get priority booking. Now, booking for the general public begins 75 days in advance, and for Castaway Club members, you do get certain benefits. We'll get into that a little later, but concierge level rooms get to start booking their onboard activities 120 days in advance, the same as Platinum Castaway Club members. You also get priority check-in. You are the first people to enter the ship, and you do have your own special entrance and check-in area at the port. Now, the last benefit that I wanted to mention at the concierge level is the special lounge and pool deck area that you have. Now, this special lounge and pool deck area can be found on deck 10 in the smaller ships and deck 12 on the larger ships. That looks so cool. I mean, you get a special area just for you to sit back and relax. You get food, you have that pool deck. Man, I would like to stay in concierge level, but I do think that it is a bit too expensive, so I think I'll just stick with ocean view and veranda for now. The last thing that I wanted to mention of the staterooms is this. Man, I felt like a referee there. I mean, just like, beep, yellow card. Oh man. This little card right here is magic. Your key to the world card is your ID around the ship. You could use it to purchase things through your stateroom. It's awesome. And another little thing that I wanted to mention is this. Do you see those random letters that are there? That is your dining rotation. We'll get to that in a little bit, but that is very important to know. Now, next thing that I wanted to talk about are the destinations of all the 4 ships. Now, all 4 ships do have Bahama itineraries, which take you to Nassau in the Bahamas or Key West in Florida. And then you also have Caribbean cruises, which could take you Cozumel, Mexico, Puerto Rico. They'll take you to Grand Cayman Islands, the US Virgin Islands, the British Islands. So you do have a lot of awesome ports that you go to. Now, another great thing about going to a Bahama or a Caribbean cruise is Castaway Cay. Castaway Cay is Disney's own private island in the Bahamas, and I honestly have to say it is paradise. It's one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen. Like when I first peeked my head out in the window and I saw that beautiful water, I'm like, wow. Another awesome thing that I would love to mention about Castaway Cay, our most recent adventure together, the minute I stepped off the ship, I saw a meet and greet with Captain Jack Sparrow. I mean, how can you not want to meet Captain Jack Sparrow in the Caribbean itself? I mean, that was just awesome. A great meet and greet as well. I mean, that is one of my favorite memories of the cruise ship. It was awesome. Let's go over some of the other cooler destinations that you could visit in other ships. So on the Magic, there is a transatlantic cruise, which takes you from Miami, Florida to Barcelona in Spain. Whoa. Let's start off with whoa. It is a 13-night cruise, which kind of seems insane, but I would love to do that. The only thing that does scare me is that you go from Miami all the way to Spain with only one stop in between. It's a little island owned by Portugal in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. That's kind of scary, that just giant journey through the Atlantic Ocean, but it seems like such a cool and awesome adventure, and I would love to do it one day. And after that epic journey from Miami to Barcelona, the Magic actually stays in Europe and does a couple of itineraries there. They go to the Mediterranean, Greece, Italy, Spain. You go to some cities in France. You have some that take you to the British Isles, to Norway, to Finland and Russia. They look like epic, amazing cruises, and I would love to do some of those, especially the Greece ones. I am a huge ancient Greece and Roman fan, so just being able to visit some of those awesome ancient cities like Athens or Rome, Venice, things like that, I would love to do it one day. Now, the Wonder does take you on some awesome adventures as well, and one that is definitely on the top of my bucket list are the Alaska cruises. So there are cruises that leave from Vancouver and take you through some cities in Alaska. They look so beautiful, and I would love to do that one day. They look amazing. I mean, that in my opinion looks like the most beautiful cruise that you could take, and it's definitely on the top of my list. The Wonder also takes you to some Baja and Mexican Riviera cruises. Now, those typically tend to be shorter cruises. Like, for example, some of the Baja cruises are 2 days long. That kind of seems a little too short for me, because I mean, I went on a 7-night cruise and I felt that that was the perfect time. But 2 nights is a little bit on the shorter side, but they do look awesome, and they do leave from San Diego in California, which is an absolutely beautiful and stunning city. The last two itineraries that I wanted to talk about are the Panama Canal cruises and the Hawaii cruises. Now, the Panama Canal cruises are awesome. They're 14-night cruises that take you from San Diego to Galveston or from New Orleans to San Diego. Now, this cruise seems absolutely awesome. It takes you to some awesome ports, and it is a 14-night cruise that does not take you across the Atlantic. So there's that. That is amazing. I would love to do it one day. It is a little bit more expensive than typical cruises. It is a 14-night cruise, but definitely I would love to do it. And now the Hawaii cruises. The Hawaii cruises are relatively new to the Disney cruise, and it takes you from Vancouver in Canada all the way to Hawaii. Now, it's kind of like the opposite. So instead of crossing the Atlantic, you kind of cross the Pacific, but you do go to Hawaii and you stay there. And so, I mean, a dream vacation right here, dream vacation. You take that cruise from Vancouver to Hawaii, and then you stay a couple of nights in Aulani. That must be a dream vacation. And I mean, if I could do that one day in the future, I'm definitely doing it. In terms of awesome itineraries and epic adventures, that's about it. The Dream and the Fantasy only take you on Bahamas and Caribbean itineraries. Now, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with that, but it kind of, in my opinion, seems a little bit boring, because I mean, the Wonder takes you to Alaska, it takes you to Hawaii, there's that Panama Canal cruise, the Magic takes you around Europe. I feel like the larger ships could be doing more, and that might be the case when the even larger ships come out. So only time will tell where the Dream and the Fantasy will be heading to next. Now, the final destination that I would like to talk about is one that the cruise ships do not currently go to, but will in the near future. That is Lighthouse Point. Lighthouse Point is a brand new purchase of Disney for their second private island. Now, Disney didn't purchase an entire island the way they did with Castaway Cay, but they did purchase a large chunk of an island in the Bahamas and will be converting it into their second private destination in those itineraries. Now, as of the day of recording, it is believed that Lighthouse Point will be available for Disney cruise ships to go to around 2023, which makes me believe will be the #1 destination for their brand new ships and the Disney Wish. Now let's move on to special itineraries that could be found on the Disney cruise ships. As of right now, there are only 4. Halloween on the High Seas, Very Merry Time Christmas Cruise, Marvel Day at Sea, and Star Wars Day at Sea. Now, the Halloween on the High Sea cruises could be found on any of the 4 ships and can be found on any itineraries, ranging from 2-night Baja cruises all the way up to a 7-night Caribbean cruise. And the sail dates typically range from the beginning of September all the way to the end of October. Now, for these cruises, get ready to have a spooky time on the high seas. I'm sorry, I couldn't keep a straight face. I don't know why I'm like this. But anyway, they have a lot of Halloween activities that could be found on cruises, from pumpkin carving, they have costume contests, you could dress up, all the characters will be in Halloween costumes, and it seems like a very, very awesome and spooky adventure. Now, me personally, I love Halloween and I would absolutely love to do one of these itineraries, but it's not a priority for me. Out of all the special itineraries that they have, this one actually ranks last on my list. Now, just like the Halloween on the High Sea itineraries, the Very Merry Time cruises could be found on all 4 ships and have a wide variety of itineraries, from a 3-night Bahama all the way up to a 14-night Panama Canal cruise. And the sail dates for the Very Merry Time cruises range from the beginning of November all the way to the end of December. Now, the name of this special itinerary is true. I mean, you will have a very, very merry time on this cruise. I am a huge fan of Christmas. It is my favorite holiday, and I absolutely love this cruise. From the tree lighting ceremony to this meeting Santa and all the characters dressed up in their Christmas attire, it was absolutely magical and a great way to spend the holiday season. Now, don't get me started on a 14-night Panama Canal cruise with a Very Merry Time itinerary. Oh my god, that must be the absolute best cruise ever. Now, with this next special itinerary, get ready to have a super time on board the Disney cruise with a Marvel Day at Sea. Also, I apologize for these corny puns. Now, Marvel Day at Sea cruises are only found on the Disney Magic and start around the beginning of January and end around the beginning of March. Now, unlike the Halloween on the High Seas and Very Merry Time cruises, these special itineraries don't last the entire time. It's only one specific day where it's all about Marvel. But in that one day, you are going to have an epic time. There's epic meet and greets with a lot of great Marvel characters and superheroes. You have a stage show and a special fireworks show dedicated to the Marvel superheroes. You could dress up as your own superhero. I would love to do this cruise one day in my life. I mean, imagine me dressed up as like my favorite superhero, like Spider-Man or Captain America or something like that. Being able to meet Captain America and Spider-Man, maybe even some of the greatest villains that exist in Marvel. I mean, sign me up for the next one. I wish. Now this next itinerary is the one on the top of my list because the Force is strong with me. It's the Star Wars Day at Sea special cruises. Now, like I said before, the Marvel Day at Sea cruises are only found on the Disney Magic and are only found in itineraries that are 5-night Bahama or Caribbean cruises. It is a bit limited, but I would love to do it one day in the future. Now, Star Wars Day at Sea cruise is on the top of my list. It looks absolutely awesome. You get to meet Star Wars characters, you get to dress up as well. There's special shows, fireworks show. I mean, come on, Star Wars. And I will go to one of these eventually in the future. It is the will of the Force. Now, these Star Wars Day at Sea itineraries can only be found on the Fantasy and are only found on 7-night Eastern or Western Caribbean cruises. Again, it's just as limited as the Marvel Day at Sea, but oh my god, I would love to do it. I mean, just hopefully one day in the near future I get to go into one. Now let's move on to my favorite category of this entire thing, the dining. Alright, I cannot call myself a Disney foodie and not have this my favorite category. I mean, it just can't happen. Now, the dining on the Disney cruise is interesting. It doesn't work like dining in the parks or things like that. It's special. Now, the first thing that I would like to talk about is the buffet. Now, on all 4 ships, you have cabanas. Cabanas is an absolutely huge buffet, has a wide variety of food, and it is amazing. It is open for breakfast and lunch as a buffet, and you can go for dinner, but you would be sacrificing one of your main dining locations. Now, let's talk about the main dining locations. So on the cruise, there is such thing as a dining rotation. As I said before, in the card, you have your rotation listed. Now, how do these dining rotations work? Well, first off, there are 2 different dining times. The main dining, which is between 5:45 and 6:15, depending on your itinerary, that is when you're gonna go to eat at your main dining location. And there's also a second dining time, which is between 8 or 8:30, depending on your itinerary. Now, around the ship, there are 3 main dining locations where you will go eat for dinner. And which one you go to is actually listed on your Key to the World card. So as you can see here, all the information that I'm gonna need is listed on my Key to the World card. I had the second dining rotation, which means that I eat dinner at 8:15 and my table number was 70. Now those weird letters in a weird combination, let's get into that. Now those random letters in an interesting sequence is actually your dining rotation, and each letter signifies which restaurant you are going to in which day. So my dining rotation was RAE, RAAE, meaning I went to Royal Court, Animator's Palette, Enchanted Garden, then Royal Court, Animator's Palette, Enchanted Garden. That is how it works on all the cruise ships, and when you get your Key to the World card, that is when you know what your dining rotation will be. Another awesome thing about the dining rotation is that you're always going to have the same servers. So for me and my family, our main server was Kadri and our serving assistant was Millie. Both of them were awesome. They were great. They treat you like family, and you get close to them. They become your friends. It is awesome, and I love how Disney does it. And that extra touch of keeping your serving team with you at all times, they end up getting to know your likes. There are times where you would show up and they would already know which drink you want, so they would bring it to you. It's awesome. And I love the way that the service is on the Disney cruise. So let's talk about the main dining locations themselves. All 4 ships actually have an Animator's Palette, but the other 2 will be unique, except on the Dream and the Fantasy, where both of them also have Enchanted Garden, so there's only one unique one. On the Magic, you have Rapunzel's Royal Table and Lumiere's. On the Wonder, you have Tiana's Place and Trident's. On the Dream, you have Enchanted Garden and Royal Palace. And on the Fantasy, you have Enchanted Garden as well and Royal Court. Now these restaurants have some amazing food, and I highly suggest you give a lot a try. And the best part is that the plates themselves, they're not big servings. They're pretty small, so you get to try a lot of different things. And for example, on the first night that I was there, I tried escargot for the first time. I've always kind of been a little scared of giving them a try, but not all the food was included. And I was able to give it a try. It's that awesome. I actually ended up liking them, surprisingly. Now, I just mentioned this, but I did want to expand on it a little bit. All the food on the cruise is included with some exceptions. So all the food that you get in the main dining locations, at cabanas, and in like the quick service type restaurants, which we'll get into shortly, and that's all included. Now there are some exceptions, such as coffee at Cove Cafe, the ice cream at Sweet on You, or Vanellope's in the Dream and Fantasy, and things like that. That is extra, but most of the food on the ship is actually included, including the pastries that you can find at Cove Cafe itself. These restaurants, you're gonna find more smaller comfort food, I guess, you know, chicken tenders, pizza, sandwiches, things like that. But it is very good. I don't know what they do to those chicken tenders, but they are the best chicken tenders I've ever had in my life. I mean, so on the Magic, you have Duck Inn Diner and Pinocchio's Pizzeria. On the Wonder, you have Pinocchio's Pizzeria, Pete's Boiler Bites, and Daisy's Delights. Now on the Dream and Fantasy, the quick service place does have the same name, and it is Flo's Cafe. These are the restaurants where you're gonna find all of those awesome little tiny bites where you could just, I mean, one of the things that I absolutely loved was getting chicken tenders from Flo's Cafe, sitting down in the pool deck, watch a movie in Funnel Vision. Now another thing that I wanted to mention was the adult-only dining. On all 4 ships, you have Palo, and on top of Palo, on the Dream and the Fantasy, you have Remy. Now these are adult-only exclusive restaurants that are an extra charge, but it is some fine dining, believe me, it is amazing. Me and my family, we went to Palo Brunch, which is considered one of the best dining experiences you'll ever have, and I agree with them. That food was out of this world amazing. The lasagna that I tried was one of the best, if not the best, piece of pasta I've ever had in my life. It was spectacular, and I do highly recommend giving it a try if you are 18 or older. Now, the last place that I did want to mention was Ice Cream. Yes, it is a pun, and I apologize again for all the puns. I mean, this is just a very punny video. Now, Ice Cream is where you're gonna find soft serve machines where you can find chocolate, vanilla, banana, and strawberry. Banana soft serve. Yes, I lost count of how many times I actually had banana soft serve. Pretty sure I had a dangerous amount of soft serve on that ship. Totally worth it. Totally worth it. And on the topic of ice cream, I also wanted to mention Sweet on You and Vanellope's. Now, Sweet on You is found on the Fantasy, and Vanellope's is found on the Dream. This is where you're gonna find some special, awesome ice cream, which they serve it to you in a cone. You get a kitchen sink, you serve it in a cup. It is an extra charge, but it is definitely worth it. That banana dulce de leche ice cream that I had, out of this world. One of the best ice creams I've ever had in my life. Now there are areas around the ship where you can find some little small pastries such as Rice Krispie treats or muffins, things like that. And that is also included. You just have to ask for it. Another thing that is also included, which is absolutely awesome, is room service. Now another awesome thing that is also included is room service. Now I didn't do it, which I kind of regret because I really wanted to eat like tomato soup and grilled cheese in my room. That must have been awesome. Now room service is included. The only thing that you would have to pay extra is tip, and I do recommend it. Even though I didn't do it personally, I do recommend it. I think I bored you guys enough with information here, so I'm actually going to cut it here and I'm going to release part 2 next week. There I will be talking about activities, lounges, and all of that that are on the ship, and it's going to be awesome. Stay tuned for that. But now I wanted to give my opinions on the things that we talked about today. In terms of the ships themselves, I've heard a lot of people say that the Wonder is their favorite ship, and it looks absolutely beautiful, and I would love to give the Wonder a shot one day. And I've only been on the Fantasy once, but I absolutely fell in love with the ship. The ship design itself is absolutely beautiful. The atrium is such a wonderful place to just go, sit back, relax, and take pictures. I want to talk about the capacity. Now, on the large ships, 4,000 people in one cruise ship. Seems like a lot, but surprisingly enough, you don't bump into large crowds that much. Now, there are large crowds when it comes to parties or shows and things like that. That's when it does get a bit crowded, I can tell you that. But besides that, you don't really find much people all around the ship. I mean, you could be walking around, you bump into people, but it doesn't feel like there are 4,000 people. And my ship was sold out, so that goes to show you, I mean, it's impressive, honestly. I think people disappear. Now, in terms of their itinerary, the one that I would absolutely love to do is the Alaska cruise. Now, the Alaska cruise looks like the most beautiful, most stunning, most epic adventure of them all. Alaska, it looks cold, I can tell you that, but definitely worth it. I would also like to give the Panama Canal cruise a try. I've always wanted to do a super long cruise on the ship, and 14 nights, and you get to go through the Panama Canal, and you get to go to these awesome cities. Sign me up, definitely. Talking about their special itineraries, Star Wars SE. For sure, 100%. I mean, yes. I would love to go, dress up as a Jedi, have my lightsaber, just It seems like such an epic adventure, and I would love to give it a shot one day. And last but certainly not least, dining. Now, the food is absolutely amazing, and one of the things that I love is, you know, there's food everywhere at all times. You could always eat. You could eat 24/7 if you wanted to. But you're never full to the brim of like exploding. You're always satisfied, and that is what I absolutely love about it. Deluxe dining plan, that's a lot of food. You want to talk about a lot of food? Deluxe dining plan. You were in constant food coma always. But on the cruise, it's not like that. And you could eat like 20 entrees, 37 appetizers. It's insane. But you're always satisfied, and I love it. Now the food itself, the food in cabanas is absolutely amazing, but the main dining rooms are absolutely outstanding. I mean, you have food there that's signature dining level. It is spectacular. Ahi tuna and avocado tower was the best thing I had on the cruise, and one of the best things I've ever had on my life. My biggest regret was not getting more. And now let's talk about Cove Cafe. Cove Cafe is absolutely amazing. It is outstanding coffee, a great place to sit back and relax. It is adult only. It's in the adult only area, which we'll get into next week. And it is absolutely outstanding. I mean, even my dad, one does not like coffee and two doesn't drink it at all. He had two in our cruise. He had 2 coffees in 2 different days, and he would have gotten more if you know, it would have been longer. Now, in terms of your dining time, I recommend getting the second rotation. Now, what I've seen and heard from other cruise vlogs and other videos is that the main dining rotation can get very loud. More families and more children are there during the main dining rotation, so it does get a bit loud. So if you want a more calm, more peaceful dining experience, I do suggest getting the second rotation. Also, trust me on what I'm telling you, go to one of those quick service places, get some chicken tenders, sit down on the pool deck, watch a movie in funnel vision. It's a great way to spend your day. Let me know in the comments below what you think about my opinions and what you think about the Disney cruise. I would love to hear from you. Also, if you enjoyed today's video, smash that like button and hit subscribe. I upload a brand new video every Wednesday. Thank you for being part of the Disney family, and see you real soon.